Good morning, everyone. Rev here this morning. It is a cool Monday, February the 8th, 2021. I hope you're safe, you're well, you're blessed, you're warm today. I hope you're ready to be a witness for Jesus any way that you can. I want to read to you this morning from the book of Psalms. This is Psalm number 82. And this is a plea for God to intervene. God presides in the great assembly. He gives judgment among the gods. How long will you defend the unjust and show partiality to the wicked? Defend the cause of the weak and fatherless. Maintain the rights of the poor and oppressed. Rescue the weak and needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wicked. They know nothing. They understand nothing. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. I said, you are gods. You are all sons of the Most High. But you will die like mere men. You will fall like every other ruler. Rise up, O God, judge the earth, for all the nations are your inheritance. May God add his blessing through the reading and hearing of his word this morning. This psalm, it reflects a common Old Testament theme, which is that the community is responsible for its poor and for its needy. And there's truth that is true. We are responsible for our poor and for our needy. The way that we do it, what we might call welfare, is strikingly different from what the Old Testament or the scriptures tell us to do. The community is responsible for its poor and needy. That means we are responsible, not the government, that we are responsible for the poor and the needy. You see, the poor, in Old Testament times here, the poor were allowed to gather farm crops that fell to the ground. In Exodus chapter 23, we read this: For 6 years you are to sow your fields and harvest the crops. But during the 7th year, let the land lie unplowed and unused. Then the poor among you, or poor among your people, may get food from it, and the wild animals may eat what they leave. Do the same with your vineyards and your olive grove. So the poor were allowed to glean the fields. Excuse me. That was one thing. And then God's people they were to extend the poor interest-free forgivable loans. In Leviticus 25, beginning with verse 35, we hear, if one of your countrymen becomes poor and is unable to support himself among you, help him as you would an alien or a temporary resident, so he can continue to live among you. Do not take interest of any kind from him, but fear your God, so your countrymen may continue to live among you. You must not lend him money at interest or sell him food at a profit. So they were to give loans, forgivable loans, not to expect anything in return, no interest, not to make a profit. Also then, family land could not be sold, only leased for 50 years or less. If we stay in Leviticus 25, but we back up here a little bit to verse 23. The land must not be sold permanently, because the land is mine, and you are but aliens and my tenants. Throughout the country that you hold as a possession, you must provide for the redemption of the land. So the property could be bought for only temporarily. Excuse me. And a person who could manage his own affairs, well, he or she could sell their services to a successful fellow citizen for 7 years in a kind of apprenticeship. If we go to Deuteronomy chapter 15, start with verse 12, we read this. If a fellow Hebrew, a man or a woman, sells himself to you and serves you 6 years in the 7th year, you must let him go free. And when you release him, do not send him away empty-handed. Supply him or her liberally from your flock, your threshing floor, and your winepress. Give to them as the Lord your God has blessed you. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt, and the Lord your God redeemed you. That's why I give you this command today. But if your servant says to you, I do not want to leave you, because he or she loves you and your family and is well off with you, then take an awl and push it through his earlobe into the door, and he will become your servant for life. Do the same for your maidservant. Do not consider it a hardship to set your servant free, because his service to you these 6 years has been worth twice as much as that of a hired hand, and the Lord your God will bless you in everything that you do. Should this not be enough? Every 3rd year, a tenth of the harvest was collected and saved for the distribution to widows and orphans. As we look through the Old Testament, we realize that God's concern for people is far, far deeper than ours. Our society, we want to just give them a check. And you know what? That kind of steals their self-respect. If we just hand them the money and tell them to be on their way, it steals their self-respect. God's way preserves the self-respect of the individual while showing the greatest possible concern for meeting every need of the poor. They are our responsibility. I'm Pastor Mark. I love you guys. Be safe, be well, be blessed. I'll see you tomorrow.